Guys, this is a movie review for The Boy in the Striped Pajamas because I've just finished watching the movie, and I think it's a really interesting movie. But breaking it down bit by bit, it just really it illustrates. I mean, the movie basically shows a boy's innocence and how he gets tainted, and he has his own. I mean, he doesn't really have any idea of what's going on, but anyways, the story starts in Berlin. It's 19. I don't know what year it is. They don't tell us. But Bruno, he's the main character of the show. He is the boy. No, the boy in the striped pajamas is Shmuel. That's the guy that was in the concentration camp. Fucking annoying ass noises from outside. But man, I mean, the movie was like so. I mean, yeah, because Bruno never knew what was happening in the camp, so that's why he went over to Shmuel. But let's start from the beginning. So in the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a character called Bruno. He's a little child and he lives in Berlin. Now the parents, they live with them, and the father, he's a commandant of a concentration camp, which, I mean, I think he got promoted to the commandant position at the beginning of the movie, and then he got assigned to one of those work camps. And where was the work camp placed exactly? Because I think it was in Poland. I think they moved from Berlin to Poland. That's my theory, my little theory. I think that they moved from Berlin to Poland. The father was, he was promoted to the rank of commandant of a concentration camp. So they had to go over there. The whole family had to move over to Poland. I don't know where in Poland, but I guess it was somewhere in, oh, was it Auschwitz? That means he was in Poland, of course, Eastern Poland. So after that, basically the father, he is a monster, but we'll get to that later on. Man, it's such a railroading of a fucking show. The sister that doesn't care anything about the Jews and just getting indoctrinated. The grandpa that's just going along with the program. The father, the commandant, the monster that burns the Jews' bodies in the chimneys and kills all those people, and he just goes home to his family and has a nice dinner with his family. And the mom, she knows deep down what's going on in that concentration camp. She knows that those people are being killed. She knows that those bodies are being burned. She knows everything. But she didn't want to believe it. She didn't want to believe that her husband was capable of such monstrosity and evil. So she kept telling herself, my husband isn't that bad. And then he got reinforced by that guy, the lieutenant. Collar, I don't know, I forgot his name. Kurt, I think his name was Kurt or Collar. That lieutenant, he told him what happened. And I mean, it's so sad what happened to Pavel, man. Like the guy in the movie. He was a doctor. He used to be a doctor back in the day. I think he's from Belarus because that name, I'm aware of someone that has that name, and they actually are also from Belarus. So my theory is that he's from Belarus and he's in Poland because he got sent to a work camp over there because he's a Jew. Now, the real question of this movie that I keep asking myself is, did Bruno deserve it? Did he deserve to die? No, he didn't deserve to die. I think that's the obvious answer. But it's just so interesting. Like, looking at it from a child's perspective, the movie is just telling us how a child perceived World War II and all of the horrors that came along with it. He is constantly being told by his parents and the people around him that the Jews are the enemy. But they never tell him, but the thing is, like, he doesn't understand why this is happening. His mind is probably too small to comprehend it, but at the same time, he's too innocent to comprehend the evil that's being done by the people around him. He doesn't want to believe that his father is a monster. He wants to believe his father's a good person. And I find it really interesting the way the mom perceives the world. She should definitely be a lot more knowledgeable about what's going on. And I already mentioned this. I think she knew what was going on in the whole camp, and she knew exactly what's happening there. But she didn't want to believe it. Exactly. Sometimes you don't want to believe things that are true because you don't want to change the way that you perceive the person that you're with, like your partner, your parents, your sister, your siblings. Imagine they commit like some kind of unspeakable horrific crime, like they killed thousands of people. You're not gonna want to believe that. You're gonna say, "My dad killed all those people? No way. My dad's a nice person." Because the image that his father, Bruno's dad, exudes to Bruno is that he's a soldier, he's carrying out good work, he's doing things for the fatherland. So Bruno's just soaking all that up. Obviously, he doesn't really know what's actually happening because he's not able to comprehend such evil. He's too young to comprehend that. And I find it interesting that the movie tries to portray that the Germans didn't actually know what was going on in these camps. I think they knew what was going on. Of course, they knew. I mean, you can smell the body from miles away. How do you not know that there are people are being burned in those camps? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. Don't you think it's interesting the way that Lieutenant Collar, whatever his name is, the way he talked to Pavel, the way he talked to Pavel, and the way he talks to the other people? Bruno sees that, and then he sees that they're being treated differently. He wants to understand why that's happening, but nobody tells him anything. The only person that really told him anything, and we're getting to that interesting part, is when he meets Shmuel, that character, the little kid that's in the concentration camp, and he's just sitting next to the railings because he always gets into fights with the other inmates, and he wants to be alone. He likes being alone, and it's so um it's pretty messed up though. Yeah, and it's interesting how Shmuel's parents, they tell him lies like every time he finds out that his grandparents are dead, what happens is his parents tell him, "Oh, they must have caught something on the way here," but they don't want to tell him the truth. They don't want to tell Shmuel the truth of what actually happened because they want to keep his spirits alive. They want to make sure he has hope. They don't want to kill any type of hope. And I agree with that. You know, if I was in that situation, which I'm really happy I'm not in that situation. I don't want to be fucking in a concentration camp. But if I was in that situation, which I'm not, thankfully, I would probably tell my child as well, like, they caught something. I would lie to them just to keep their hope alive. Like, why would I tell them the truth? It's gonna do more harm than good. Like, it's not gonna help them. Well, what's it gonna do for them to know the truth? But in this instance, I mean, yeah, 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't help them to know the truth. But in this instance, Bruno, the little kid, if Shmuel knew more about what was happening in the camps and he told Bruno, Bruno would believe him because he likes Shmuel. Shmuel and him are friends, and it's interesting. It's so interesting. Like, this is the part that I find very, very, very telling and like just poetic justice, right? Because look, when they were shooting the propaganda film in the little meeting, when they were having a propaganda meeting, and they were showing the propaganda of what's actually happening in these camps, and Bruno was watching through the little slit in the doorway, and he saw that it looked like the work camps were being treated fairly. There was a cafe, there was a playground, they could run around, do whatever they wanted. It's not just all work. And so he was brainwashed by the propaganda, and that reinforced, no, it didn't reinforce anything. It just kind of gave him a different outlook on how he looks at the inmates in the prison. That's what gave him the confidence to go inside the camp, because he thought that they weren't getting killed. They were being treated fairly. They were getting breaks, lunch, cafes. Like, he wanted to go there because, well, he didn't want to go there. He went there because he wanted to find Shmuel's dad, you know, and he wanted to make up for that because of the sandwich that he didn't get, you know, and whatever. These are just little details that you'll have to watch the movie to understand this. You know, I can't give you guys a review of everything, but man, like, Poetic justice. And who's the real monster in this show? Like, I think the dad. Dad's a monster. What is this? Why is he so mad? Let me mute this for a second. I'm looking at the part. I'm looking at the part where Bruno sees all of his sisters. Gretel. He sees all of Gretel's dolls just on the ground because she threw them away. And it's interesting to see how the teacher, he is indoctrinating them with the book. What's it called? Deutsche Almanac. I'm interested in that book. I'd actually like to read it just to see a different perspective. Well, the mom is powerless. She can't do anything to stop the horrors that's going on in the camp. And the dad, he's the commandant. He's a monster. He killed people, thousands of people. But he chose that position, though. Nobody forced him to be the commandant. But, I mean, once you're the commander of a fucking camp, are you going to give that up? All that power. All that... You have all these people cooped up in one area, and you feel the power and all of this strength from being able to subjugate all these people. I mean, that probably power corrupts people for sure. You know, I think he didn't want to give that up because of the immense joy that he feels from being able to subjugate all these people. You know, that's something that people like doing, man. Like, not everybody is a good person. And not everybody is able to see what they are doing to different people. And not everybody is able to, like, you know, process that. So, some people, you know, it's very telling because something that I learned about the camps was that the female guards were actually much more sadistic than the male guards. They would be way worse than the male guards. Probably thousands of times worse. Very sadistic. You know? Oh, fuck. Hot. Pretty tasty. But all of the stuff that's happening in the camp, man. I don't buy it. I don't buy the notion that the German people didn't know what was going on in the camps. What that tells me is either you're brain dead and you have the IQ of a squirrel, which you don't, so that tells me you did know about the camp. How do you not smell the camp? How do you not smell those dead bodies? And how do you... And all these people are disappearing. Your neighbors are disappearing. These businesses are getting shut down. All these people are disappearing. Where do you think they're going? And then the first thing that, when Bruno asks his dad what's going on in the camp, it's very telling that the dad, immediately, what he said was, those people are not really people. He looks at them as subhumans. That's how they're able to carry out these acts of unspeakable evil and killing all these people, putting them into fucking crematorium and burning their bodies into ovens and shit. Man, this shit was fucked up. I'm surprised this movie is rated number 12. But it probably is because it's from the lens of Bruno. Like, Bruno doesn't actually see the crimes that are happening. He's just a child. He doesn't bear any blame for what his parents do and what's going on in the country. Like, he's 8 years old. Like, he's a fucking little snot-nosed little kid. What does he know? Nothing. That's exactly what he knows. Nothing. Man. Very telling. The Germans gave no fucks about what was happening. And the grandma. I almost forgot about the grandma. Don't you guys think that it's a coincidence that she died and she was against what was happening in the camps? And she wasn't actually sick when she wasn't actually... I don't believe that she was sick. Because they told us in the movie, oh, grandma's sick, she can't come to visit us, Bruno. And she told... And who told that? The dad. And he heard that from the grandpa. The grandpa told the commandant that the grandma couldn't attend. She couldn't come to the house. She couldn't come visit them where they were because she probably felt disgusted about her proximity to those work camps. And well, they're not actually work camps. Let's call them what they are: killing factories. She didn't want to get close to the killing factories because she's just disgusted, you know. And it's interesting to see the breakdown that the mom is having slowly throughout the movie. Like she's breaking down from the top to the bottom because after it got reinforced that they were killing them and burning their bodies, she pushed back against that with the husband. But you know, and that filters down to the children. I mean, Gretel's completely brainwashed. She hates the Jews. She hates them. She wishes that they would all taken care of, but that's primarily because of the indoctrination that she is having from the teacher, from the people around her. So it's really the environment that's shaping her. And at the same time, environment isn't everything though. It's not always just because, oh, he's a product of his environment. Not always like that. You know, people have their intrinsic values and they have their own personality based on how they actually are. And then what they see around them is how they shape their personality as well. But Bruno, man, sad story. And he died at the end. And, you know, I don't think that the parents, that the commandant, whatever the fuck his name is, I don't care. But I don't think he changed his ways. He just went back to killing people. And if he decides to stop, then they would just bring someone else in to do whatever, you know. The grandma wasn't actually. I think she got killed because she was speaking out against the regime and she disappeared and got killed. I don't think she got bombed. It's plausible that her house got bombed because the Allies were bombing Germany at that time. So maybe I'm wrong. But I think my little theory is that she wasn't actually killed. No, I mean, she was killed. What am I talking about? She wasn't actually bombed, I mean. The bombing didn't happen, man. She was killed because she spoke out against Hitler, you know? Yeah, man. That's all I gotta say. I'd say anyone that wants to watch this movie, get Netflix and watch the movie, or just watch it on the fucking internet. You can watch it for free, or you can pay for it. Your choice. I would say pay for it because does it help the victims? It helps Netflix. What the fuck are you talking about? All right, whatever. I'm out.